10 years is a long time in the gaming industry. During this time, a sea of excellent projects has appeared. In this video, I've compiled a list of 20 games that everyone should play, ones that are truly addictive and will keep you hooked for dozens, if not hundreds, of hours. Of course, everyone has different tastes, so you may disagree, and that's okay. I'll just talk about the games that hooked me the most. Let's go! Days Gone is a game that many initially found controversial, but over time it has become a cult classic for those who love survival and the atmosphere of the wasteland. There are no instant victories here. The whole point is to immerse yourself in the game, riding a bike, searching for gasoline and ammunition, constantly fighting hordes of infected and people who have their own laws. The main character, Deacon St. John, feels alive. He is not a cardboard hero, but a man with pains and habits. This is what makes the world convincing. The characters act logically within the framework of their personalities, rather than for the sake of the plot. Yes, the game can sometimes be annoying with its repetitive tasks and the need to constantly repair your bike, but these minor details don't detract from the overall impression. The atmosphere here works wonders. When clearing out the camp, Deacon behaves as a real person would in such a situation, and that's rare in modern games. It's a shame that there won't be a sequel. Sales and the publisher's decision buried the studio's plans. But the first part itself is a powerful emotional story and an excellent example of how to create a believable post-apocalyptic world. If you like meditative yet tense games, Days Gone is definitely worth playing. Assassin's Creed Origins was the moment when the series completely changed course. Instead of the usual stealth formula, players get a grand role-playing adventure set in the stunningly beautiful ancient Egypt. Deserts, bustling markets, pyramids, Nile settlements, every corner looks as if it was truly painted with love. The main character, Bayek, turned out to be one of the most human in the series. He has understandable motives, strong emotions, and his own personal tragedy, around which the idea of the future order of assassins gradually forms. The combat system has become dynamic and varied, and leveling up and loot at depth. Origins is a game that draws you in slowly, but then keeps you hooked for dozens of hours, turning into a real journey through a unique and vibrant world. Ghost of Tsushima is the perfect combination of cinematic quality and gameplay. The game looks like a samurai drama come to life. Fog over the fields, bamboo groves, strong winds, and music that evokes the feeling of an ancient Japanese epic. Jin's story is a conflict between duty and necessity, where samurai values clash with the brutal reality of war. The game world is crafted with rare attention to detail. It doesn't overwhelm you with unnecessary activities, but rather motivates you to explore. The combat is one of the most enjoyable in the genre. Stances, precise strikes, duels, and instant finishing moves create a sense of true mastery. And the photo mode allows you to create mini-movies right during the game. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those rare cases where almost everything works perfectly, and where you really want to say, yes, everyone should play this. Little Nightmares 2 is a short but incredibly atmospheric game that scares you not with jump scares, but with a feeling of constant anxiety. There are almost no words here, but each scene speaks for itself. The little heroes find themselves in a huge, twisted world where everything seems familiar and grotesquely exaggerated at the same time. Schools, streets, televisions. Everything turns into eerie symbols. The game masterfully builds tension through its level design, dangerous pursuers, stealth, sudden transitions from silence to chaos. The controls are simple, but the emotional impact is enormous. The ending is one of the most memorable in the genre, and it makes you think about what is happening much more than most big horror games. Little Nightmares 2 is a small interactive nightmare that takes an evening to play through, but stays with you much longer. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is not just a game, but a powerful emotional experience that is difficult to compare to anything else. Ninja Theory has once again focused on the psychological state of the heroine, and if this was already impressive in the first part, in the second it is taken to a whole new level. Senua goes through internal and external chaos, facing a world that seems to have been created specifically to break anyone. Sound design remains the game's signature feature. The voices around you create a sense of presence, as if this is not a game, but someone's living and very personal nightmare. Visually, Hellblade 2 is so impressive that at times you can't believe it's real gameplay. The fights have become heavier and more cinematic. Each blow feels like a separate event. Yes, there is less gameplay here than in traditional action games, but it is subordinate to the story, and that is precisely why Hellblade is valued. It is a game that does not try to please everyone, but does what it does best. It conveys emotions that are rarely found in the gaming industry. Star Wars Jedi. Survivor is one of the best adventures in the Star Wars universe in recent years. The game continues the story of Cal Kestis, who no longer looks like a novice. He has become much more experienced, confident, and stronger. The worlds the hero visits are larger and more vibrant than in Fallen Order, and the level structure combines Metroidvania, open areas, and classic action, creating the feeling of a great journey. The combat has become more flexible. New stances, abilities, improved parkour, and intelligent enemies make the battles truly spectacular. The boss fights are especially enjoyable. They are fast, challenging, and well-designed. The story has also become deeper, with more themes of lost hope, struggle, and the price of freedom. Yes, the game is demanding on hardware, especially on PC, but when it runs smoothly, the experience is truly powerful. Jedi. Survivor is a project that shows what modern Star Wars games should look like: dynamic, emotional, and respectful of the universe. Hogwarts Legacy is a dream come true for anyone who has ever wanted to receive a letter from Hogwarts. It's a game where the sense of magic is created not by cutscenes, but by how you yourself discover the vast world of magic. The castle itself is recreated in incredible detail. Secret rooms, living corridors, moving paintings, and students discussing something, everything makes Hogwarts feel real. But the game is not limited to the school. The surrounding areas, villages, forests, and dark dungeons can be explored for hours. The combat system is surprisingly flexible. Spells can be combined, and duels feel dynamic and spectacular. The story doesn't claim to be the deepest, but it works perfectly within the atmosphere. It's nice that the game doesn't try to copy movies or books, but creates its own storyline without breaking the canon. Hogwarts Legacy is a rare case where the game fully conveys the spirit of the universe and gives you that feeling. This is what my training in the magical world would look like. Doom Eternal is a game that doesn't give you a second to rest. It's the ultimate concentration of speed, aggression, and pure gameplay excitement. Eternal builds on the ideas of the previous installment, making them even more intense and deeper at the same time. Here, every battle is a puzzle at 200 kilometers per hour. You need to constantly move, conserve resources, and choose your targets wisely. The resource trio system, fire for armor, chainsaw for ammo, and finishing moves for health, works like clockwork. It keeps you on your toes, forcing you to play aggressively but thoughtfully. The levels are huge, vertical, and full of monsters and secrets. The enemies are diverse, each requiring its own approach, and if you make a mistake, you will be punished instantly. But that's what makes Doom Eternal so exciting. There are no random victories, only your skill. Nick Gordon's soundtrack is pure magic, perfectly emphasizing the rhythm of the game. Eternal is one of the purest, most honest, and adrenaline-fueled shooters of our time. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a rare example of a remake that respects the original while completely reimagining it. Capcom took the foundation of the classic RE2 and turned it into a modern horror game of the highest caliber. The atmosphere here is simply impeccable. A dark, abandoned police station, narrow corridors, dim lights, and the constant feeling that someone is standing around the corner. The zombies are slow but dangerous. Every enemy can be a problem, especially when ammunition is scarce. The Tyrant is one of the best antagonists in horror games ever. You can hear his footsteps coming, and it literally makes you freeze in your tracks. The story of Leon and Claire is presented in such a way that you want to believe it. The characters seem alive, and the cutscenes are significantly improved compared to the original. An important part of the remake is the feeling of hopelessness and lack of resources, which does not disappear even at the end. RE2 Remake is a benchmark for how remakes should be done, with respect, but with the courage to change everything for the better. Cyberpunk 2077 has come a long way, from a controversial release to a full-fledged, powerful RPG adventure that is now rightly considered one of the best modern games. Night City is not just a location, but a living organism, neon, dirty, loud, but incredibly stylish. Vi's story is a personal drama set in a world where the human body and soul have become bargaining chips. The relationship with Johnny Silverhand creates a unique tension. It is a union of two people who are not meant to coexist. Side quests are a separate masterpiece. Many of them raise questions of morality, freedom, and identity. The combat system allows you to play in different ways: hacker, shooter, melee fighter. The choice is yours. After all the patches, the game runs more smoothly, has become richer, and the Phantom Liberty expansion has brought the quality to near perfection. Cyberpunk 2077 is a deep, stylish, atmospheric journey that is definitely worth experiencing at least once. Resident Evil 3 Remake received more mixed reviews than the second installment, but it's still a high-quality action horror game with excellent pacing. Jill Valentine is one of the most charismatic characters in the series, strong, straightforward, and ready to fight to the end. The main star of the game, of course, is Nemesis. He has become faster, smarter, and more dangerous than he was in the original. His appearance always makes you nervous. Yes, the game is shorter than RE2 Remake, and some scenes from the classic part have been cut, but in return, we get a dense, dynamic gameplay without any lulls. The battles feel powerful, the weapons are heavy, the shots are loud, and the enemies fall with juicy physics. Raccoon City looks amazing: bright lights, destroyed streets, chaos everywhere. Despite its simplified structure and reduced survival element, RE3 Remake remains a stylish, intense, and spectacular adventure that is worth playing for all fans of the series and those who appreciate dynamic horror. Dead Island 2 is a rare case where a game goes through a long and painful development cycle, but ultimately comes out surprisingly lively. It's not a deep, dramatic story, but an honest, vivid, and bloody zombie frenzy made with an excellent sense of rhythm. The game surprises first and foremost with its combat system. The battles here are as juicy as possible. You literally feel every blow, every hit, every broken bone. The dismemberment system is so detailed that it has become a feature of the game itself. Los Angeles turned out to be caricatured, but very lively. The areas are unique, and you want to look into every house, shop, and hotel. The characters are also vivid, a little crazy, which fits perfectly with the overall tone. Dead Island 2 doesn't try to be a serious horror game. It's a light, stylish, and dynamic action game that offers pure enjoyment from combat and exploring the world. If you want to truly relax and have fun destroying zombies without unnecessary complications, this is an excellent choice. A Plague Tale, Requiem is an emotionally heavy and incredibly beautiful adventure that continues the story of Amisha and her brother Hugo. The game raises the stakes in every way, in drama, staging, character depth, visuals, and world scale. It is a journey where despair is mixed with hope, and every step forward comes at a huge price. The plot has become darker. Amisha is growing up, but she faces new tragedies that cannot be ignored. The gameplay has been expanded, more stealth, more combat options, more interactions with the environment. Rats are still the main symbol of the series, and their scenes are staged in such a way that they give you goosebumps. The locations are large-scale and incredibly atmospheric, from picturesque cities to war-torn territories. The music and acting bring the emotions to the limit. Requiem is one of those projects that briefly takes you out of reality and leaves a strong aftertaste. It's not just a game, it's a real experience. A Way Out is a unique cooperative adventure that is entirely based on the interaction between two players. It is impossible to complete the game alone. Everything depends on cooperation, mutual assistance, and joint actions. The story tells of two prisoners who decide to escape, but gradually get caught up in events that are much more complicated than simply escaping from prison. Leo and Vincent have different personalities, and it is their contrast that brings the plot to life. The cooperative aspect is boldly implemented, a split screen, different roles in the same scenes, moments when players see events from different angles. It's interesting to play the game twice to try both sides. The staging resembles an interactive film, but the gameplay is constantly changing. Chases, stealth, shooting, dialogues, there's no time to get bored. The ending is emotional, powerful, and lingers in your mind for a long time. A Way Out is an excellent example of how co-op can tell a story in a way that single-player games simply cannot. It Takes Two is one of the best cooperative projects in history, a game that proves that when two people go through something together, emotions are perceived twice as strongly. This is not just an adventure about a married couple turned into toys. It is a real journey through relationships, where each level symbolizes a certain stage of their life. The style of the game changes constantly. Sometimes it's a platformer, sometimes a shooter, sometimes a fighting game, sometimes a puzzle game. No mechanic lasts too long, but each one feels fresh and unexpected. Cooperation is a must here. Players perform different actions, complement each other's abilities, and solve problems in pairs. Thanks to this, everything works as a single mechanism. The story is presented in a light but emotional tone. The game is both funny and touching, making you think about what is important in relationships. It Takes Two is a game that stands out from the rest thanks to its soulfulness, diversity, and sincere atmosphere. It is worth playing for anyone who has a partner. Assassin's Creed Odyssey became a new milestone for the series, finally transforming the franchise into a large-scale RPG. Here, the player is presented with the vastness of ancient Greece, vibrant, sunny, lively, filled with islands, cities, and endless adventures. You play as Alexios or Cassandra. Both heroes are charismatic, but Cassandra stands out in particular, becoming a fan favorite thanks to her character and presentation. The gameplay is based on freedom of choice. You can be a mercenary, a stealthy assassin, a powerful warrior, or something in between. Leveling up, weapons, engravings, naval battles. There's a lot to do, but it's all accessible. The story touches on themes of family, destiny, and the eternal conflict between order and chaos. At times, Odyssey can feel too big, but that's what creates the feeling of an incredible journey. This is a game that gives you a whole world in which you want to lose yourself for dozens of hours. For fans of open worlds, it's a must-have. Uncharted 4 is not just an adventure action game, but almost a benchmark for what a game built around travel, human relationships, and the feeling of a real adventure should look like. Here, Nathan Drake seems to have retired and is living a quiet, peaceful life, but his past catches up with him in the form of his brother Sam, who suddenly reappears. This encounter sets off a chain of events that once again throws the hero into the thick of chases, shootouts, dangerous ancient ruins, and the hunt for legendary pirate treasure. The game is impressive in its scale. Huge locations, from rainy tropical islands to abandoned pirate cities, look so lifelike that you just want to walk around and examine the details. Everything feels cinematic. The camera, the scenes, the dialogue, the sound design. It's like you're playing in an expensive adventure movie, and the plot doesn't just move forward. It reveals the characters, their fears, doubts, and how the past influences their choices. The gameplay combines everything that makes the series unique: dynamic shootouts, spectacular parkour, puzzles, and huge scripted scenes where everything around you collapses, explodes, or goes downhill. Climactic moments like the crazy chase through Madagascar have long become legendary. But what makes the game truly special is the relationship between Nathan, Elena, Sam, and Sully. There is conflict, love, fatigue, and humor, everything that makes the characters come alive. The Outer Worlds is a sci-fi RPG that transports players to a colonized star system where corporations rule and human life is worth less than a billboard slogan. You wake up after decades of cryosleep to find yourself in a world where everything from medicine to the military belongs to brands. From that moment on, you decide what kind of hero you want to be: a cynical mercenary, a charismatic leader, a maximalist scientist, or a chaotic psychopath who solves problems with bullets. The main strength of the game lies in its freedom of choice and its vivid, satirical world. Almost every situation can be resolved in different ways: negotiate, hack, bribe, hide, frame someone, or just blow everything up. The game constantly reacts to your decisions. Factions change, the fates of cities, and even companions who travel with you change. And the companions here are a separate gem. Each has their own character, beliefs, personal quests, and opinion about your actions, which makes the team like a real family, albeit a slightly crazy one. The locations are compact but rich in meaning: industrial cities, toxic wastelands, high-tech bases, colonies on the brink of survival, all presented with Obsidian's signature humor, mocking the absurdity of corporate power. The atmosphere is maintained by a combination of bright colors, retro-futuristic style, and satirical play on capitalism, reaching the point of absurdity. The Beast Inside is a psychological horror game that keeps you on the edge of your seat from the very first minutes until the very end. The game unfolds in two timelines, allowing you to see the same story through the eyes of two completely different people: cryptographer Adam, who has moved to a secluded forest house, and the mysterious Nicholas, who lived there over 100 years ago. Their fates are strangely intertwined through strange notes, diaries, and frightening events that begin to occur after their arrival at the house. The main strength of the game is its atmosphere. The developers have achieved an incredible level of realism. The house, the forest, the old corridors, the basement, everything looks as if you are really there. You constantly feel like you're being watched, like you hear someone in the next room, and the shadows start to take on a life of their own. The game does an incredible job of building tension, sometimes with sudden screams, sometimes with quiet rustling, a door creaking, or a silhouette suddenly disappearing. It's not just about scaring you, but playing with your senses. The gameplay includes exploration, interaction with objects, solving puzzles, and episodes where you have to flee from something much darker and more alive than just myths. Switching between two timelines gives a sense of depth, forcing you to try to understand what is really going on in this house and who is the real beast within an unknown force, or the person themselves. Dark Souls 3 is not just a game, but a test that challenges your patience, reflexes, and self-confidence. It is the conclusion of the legendary series, in which the developers have brought their hardcore RPG formula to near perfection. The world is on the brink of destruction. The fire is dying out, and you, as the unkind led, must make your way through the ruins of kingdoms, gloomy castles, catacombs, and cities consumed by darkness. Every step here is a struggle, every encounter is a risk, every victory is a small personal triumph. The main magic of the game lies in the feeling that the whole world is built around you, but nothing is explained directly. Dark alleys, giant cathedrals, endless halls, and scorched wastelands are filled with hidden meaning, half-forgotten stories, and fragments of tragedies that the player collects themselves. It is a dark, majestic universe in which even enemies look like fallen legends. Combat is the heartbeat of the game. Every creature is dangerous. Every boss is an event in itself, requiring attention, composure, and the ability to adapt. There is no mindless button mashing here, only precise reading of attacks, timely dodges, and choosing the right moment to strike. And the harder the victory, the greater the sense of reward. The music, artwork, enemy design, and arena layout all work together to create a single feeling. You're alone against the world, but you are capable of the impossible. Dark Souls 3 doesn't just challenge you, it creates a unique atmosphere of futility and grandeur that is impossible to remain indifferent to. Well, friends, that's our big list of games that everyone should really play. If you found something new here, then this video was worth making. Thank you so much for watching to the end, liking, and commenting. It really helps the channel grow and makes everything we do even more meaningful. If you want more selections, reviews, and cool game recommendations, be sure to subscribe. There's a lot more interesting stuff ahead. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next videos.